Hi, students. This is Mrs. Hahn, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what is called the Detective Notebook. And this is a document that you're going to make your own copy of, and then you are going to be adding to this document for the next 3 weeks. So as you're reading, every time you're reading, I want you to have this open in addition to the PDF. Now, maybe if you checked out a physical book from the library, you've got your book in your hand, so I'm reading my book. As you read, I want you to have this open because you're going to be recording evidence as you read through your book, evidence of your understanding of the skills that we teach you each week. So, for example, this week and last week, we learned a lot about how authors hook readers and what strategies authors use to just grab your attention, whether it's a dialogue hook or whether it's a hook that includes kind of a cliffhanger at the end of chapter one, or maybe it's a shocking hook, or maybe it's a type of hook we didn't even cover, but it creates suspense or it makes you really intrigued right away. You're going to be talking about how your author did that. We've also learned about inferences, and you're going to be recording the inferences you make about your characters, about your story, your predictions that you make about what's going to happen. So as you read your books, you're going to be recording evidence and talking about them. And we call this the detective notebook because you're the detective. The beauty of a mystery novel is that as you read, you're trying to solve the mystery, whether it's the stolen jewels or who murdered the person. You're trying to follow the clues and solve the mystery. But at the same time, in language arts, you're also trying to show your knowledge of these skills that we teach you. Like, how does an author create suspense? How does an author hook their reader? How does the author create a satisfying conclusion? So you're going to be doing both of those things. Once you make your own copy of this document right here, you'll notice instead of a Google Doc, it's actually a Google Slides. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to change this and put your name there, right? So I would say Mrs. Hahn, or my first name is Michaela's Detective Notebook. And then I would move on to slide 2. Now, most of you are reading one of the 4 options we gave you, like The Hound of the Baskervilles or Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. So go to Google Images, right? I can just go over here and I can type Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I can go to Images and I can copy and paste an image of the book right here. All right, think of this kind of like your notebook cover. And so you're going to drag that in the box there, format it. And then on the right side, you're going to talk a little bit about why you chose this book. Why did you choose this one of the options you were given? Doesn't need to be long, just a couple sentences. Okay. Third, it is so important that you remember what pages you need to read each day. So instead of having you always go to your to the reading schedule that our wonderful teacher, Mrs. Lanzarotto, made for us, I'm going to have you record your pages right here. So for example, if you chose the West End game, you can click on the West End game right here, and you're going to read from page 0 to page whatever during week 1, which means week 1 is everything has to be completed by March 26th. So right here, I'm going to write March 26th, which means we have 3 weeks. So your first week really needs to be completed by March 12th. Right? Then your second week needs to be completed by March 19th, or you can say 3/19, and then your final week needs to be completed by 3/26 or March 26th. So I want you to fill in what pages. So you can go to your reading schedule and say, all right, by the first week, March 12th, I need to read, all right, 10 pages, 15 pages, 22, 15, do the math. How many pages do I need to read in the first week, right? So it looks like about 70 pages. So figure that out and write your page numbers down here so you can stay on track. That way you don't have to keep going to the reading schedule because it'll be right here on your document, and you're going to be opening this up almost every day. Now, later this week, you're going to fill out by the end of the week, you're going to fill out slides 1 through 7. So your first slide, aside from your intro slides, you're going to do is a slide about hooking the reader. So for each slide, it'll say what part of the book we're writing about. So all of these yellow slides are about the first part of the book, the first week. So we're dividing our book into 3 chunks. So this is the first third of the book, page, let's say 0 to 70, maybe if you're reading the West End game. And for each slide, there's a focus, a skill that we're focusing on. So the first skill we're focusing on is hooking the reader. So for each skill, we have a claim. The author employs strategies to hook the reader at the start of the book. That's our claim. We learned about that. You're going to learn the ways that the author does that. So what you're going to do is if you're reading your book or if you're if you have a book in your hand or if you're online, as I read the first few chapters, maybe just the first few pages, I'm gonna say, ooh, in the opening chapter, we find out that a murder has happened and no one knows who did it. Well, that is really grabbing my attention. So I might come here and write a quote. So I might say on page 11, and then I'm going to write my actual quote, right? Blah, 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 blah. And over here, I need to analyze the quote. Oops. So it says, what strategy did the author use to hook the reader's attention? So I might say, ooh, well, the word choice created this really eerie mood. There was suspense there because this person is dead and no one knows who did it. So you need to explain, what did the author do to hook the reader? You could even use some of the techniques we taught you. Like, this was a shocking hook. The first few pages shocked the reader, and that makes me want to know more. When you're done with this slide, you're going to go to your next slide, which is making inferences. Remember, this is what conclusions are we drawing as we read? So in the first third of the book, you need to make at least 3 inferences. So like, I infer that so-and-so did the crime, or who I infer so-and-so has a romantic interest in this other character, or I can infer that this person might be the villain. You need to make inferences about what you think is happening, what's going on, what conclusions can you draw about this? Um, Finally, you're going to later this week have lessons over diction and syntax. So again, you're going to have a lesson, you're going to do your reading, and as you read, you're going to stop and add quotes. So don't think of this as separate from your reading. Think of, as you read, you might go back and forth to your detective notebook and add evidence and explain, how does this enhance the story? What does this do? What type of diction is this? What type of syntax technique is this? And again, that'll all make sense after you have your syntax lesson. So every time we fill this out, you're going to be working on it every day till the end of the unit, and then you're going to turn it in. Make sure you read the learning plan instructions that tell you which slides to fill out on which days. Make sure that you've got your book open either in your hand or on another tab, that you're going back and forth. You're going to be adding quotes, word by word quotes, and then analyzing those quotes. And remember, you're looking at the skill up top. So on slide 6, you're looking to add quotes that show strong diction or examples of syntax. On slide 7, you're showing examples of the universal of elements of mystery in your novel, right? So maybe your novel has an unknown problem. What is that? Then week 2, so next week, you're going to be working on the green slides. There aren't any intro slides this week, so just the green slides. You're going to be talking about setting an appropriate mood, diction and syntax again. How does the author maintain suspense? How does it not just build it, but how does the author keep that suspense going in the second part of the book, in the middle of the book? So again, you're going to make a copy. Make sure you save it in your Google Drive, because you're going to be adding to this every day. When you do your daily reading, you should have this open, and then you should be working on the slides that the learning plan instructs you to complete that day. If you have any questions, talk to your language arts teacher, and they will help explain this a little bit further. But go ahead and make your copy now if you haven't done so already.